Hello. This is a random one. I've had a few questions on here and actually via friends of friends that have heard about my surgery, but asking whether or not I would recommend it for children or for teenagers. Now, I'm not a doctor. We know this. I'm not qualified to recommend this to anybody. Each case is individual. Disclaimers, don't follow anything I say, like I'm not a medical doctor. All I can do is talk to you about how I felt and what I would personally do in my life if I had children. So, to explain, having a lazy eye, I genuinely think growing up having a lazy eye affected me in an epic way. Like, I'm lucky that I think, like, where I am, I'm grateful for where I am in my life. Like, I have a great career and I have a great life circumstance. I was lucky enough to get into a good job and have great family and friends. But I was with someone for 10 years and then we broke up. And then I've been 3 years single at the age of 36. So from 33 to 36, single and still single. But that's when it, again, hit me a little bit about how much it affects your self-esteem. And going through the surgery really made me like reflect and look back and see like how much it does affect you, like mentally. So I suppose you never really know the other side of the coin until you've flipped it. Or, you know, it could be the grass is always greener or whatever. But I suppose in my life up until I was 36, it was 36. Like I only found out that this operation was possible when I was 36. So I never really thought there was anything I could do about my eye. And I remember growing up in school in England being called names like boz-eyed bitch, freak, like lazy eye, whatever. But I truly remember walking down the corridor at school and a girl shouting, "You fucking boz-eyed bitch." I just remember like my entire growing up life was about learning to hide the fact that occasionally, like I was lucky because I didn't have a permanent lazy eye. Mine was when I got tired, when I was overstrained, or just occasionally when it generally was like when I was tired or overworked and it would go. So sometimes I could get away with it. And also with my brain, I could try and trick myself for a little bit. Like I could blink it away. So if it was going that way, I'd like blink a lot and it could register back. So, but I remember even up until 35 years old, on nights out, at dinners, going into the bathroom and videoing my face to check if my eye was wandering. And like, I'm a film producer. I used to sit around a table full of people and just want to die inside because I was particularly tired. I'd have come off a project or whatever. And I'd know that somebody had noticed because they would always do a double take. Like anybody that has a lazy eye knows this reaction. And it's when you meet someone and they go, it's the word, it like soul destroys you. And it's basically where they've never noticed it before. And then it's happening. And they're like, who are you looking at? Sometimes then they'd click that you could just got a lazy eye, or they just wouldn't even click it and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, my eye's wandering, like, it's fine. But for my entire life, like looking back, every time I was in a photo, guaranteed you'll see a photo like this, or like this, or like this. You'd never, ever, ever see me like this in a photo up until this age. Unless I was feeling like not tired and like fine. You'd never, ever get a photo of me long distance. It would always be closer up because the further away the distance the camera was, the more my eye would wander. So you'd always see, and generally you'd always see a picture of me being stupid. I'd always be like, oh. And it was distracting. It was to get the attention here instead of here. Like you'd always see me like this or something. And it's funny because things like that, like even a lot of my work colleagues were always like, I never knew you had a lazy eye. I'm like, Yeah, because you basically, like, why do you think I used to have a fringe cut in like this? Why do you think I used to, like, do this? There used to be ways around it. But then, so obviously you learn to live with it and you think it's fine. And since the surgery, I never realised how much I didn't have human eye contact and what that means as a human. Like, insane. Like, I feel like a different person because I didn't realise how much I never really made contact with people. Like, I never looked them in the eye. And I never walked into a room and felt confident. I always hid. I always felt like a shrinking wallflower. I was always afraid of walking into a room. I was scared of being judged. It is a psychologically difficult thing to live with when you are different from someone in a way that you can't change or that you didn't know you could change, when it's something that people take the piss out of, because obviously, like, oh, but I was like, weird, lazy eye, freak, whatever. Or people that didn't know I'd have a lazy eye sometimes, like I'd be in castings and the director would be like, oh God, they've got a lazy eye, or something like that. Or like someone would make a comment about it and they didn't realise that I also had one too. Like, it really stopped me. I didn't date, and for the last 3 years I've never been on a date. Like, just won't meet another person because I never had any confidence. Like, I just hid. It's probably why I was really good at my job, because literally I just worked. But do I wish I had it earlier? Yes. Do I wish that I knew about it earlier? Yes. Do I think my life would be different if I'd have had it earlier? Yes. Do I regret not knowing about it earlier? No. Because I am who I am and I got here and I like my life. So it might have changed my life. So I don't regret it. I would, if I could have done this in my 20s, Jesus Christ, I think I would have succeeded a lot more. Like, I think my self-esteem and my self-confidence would be a lot better than it is, because I'm only just now learning. And it's not about being vain, honestly. It's not about looking good in pictures or thinking that you need to have a selfie, or it's absolutely nothing to do with vanity. It's to do with not feeling like a freak, and it's about not feeling like an outsider, and it's about feeling accepted, and it's about feeling normal. Because if you have something so different where you are out of the norm, it's really hard in society, because people do point out and they do make you feel like you're not normal. And that happened to me a lot. Like, my parents knew about it, my sister, like, I just had zero self-esteem, because I just felt like there was something wrong with me, that I was a freak, that it was just weird, and that I just didn't fit in. And now I don't feel like amazing. I'm like, hey, I'm whatever. I don't feel like, woo, like, I don't know why I just sang there, but like, I'm not like, hey, I'm hot, or like, nothing like that. Like, it's ridiculous. But at the same time, I don't feel bad about myself anymore. I don't hate myself. I used to hate myself because my face didn't work. And I used to write on a wish list, like a universal, dear universe, please fix my eye. And then honestly, since the surgery, like, I just feel like I've come on to the same level as everybody else. Whereas before, it felt like I was always beneath other people, because they were normal and I was abnormal. And that is the summary, actually, thinking about it now, is I always felt that I was a lesser person than everyone else because there was something wrong with me. So I think my opinion, and I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but if I had a child that had a lazy eye and the doctors said that it was 100% safe and that their case was okay, that they had an opportunity to change it, yes, I would. I would pay endless amounts of money. Yes, I'd change it as soon as they could. And I was told, I don't know if this is 100% factually true, but I was told that basically children's eyes are changeable up until the age of 6, and then at 6 years old they sort of lock in. But you need to double check that. So, but that's when they patch, and you can really do things before with patching. But if I don't want to talk about your children, because your children are not mine, and I'm not telling you to do anything. If my child was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever, and had no confidence and felt like I did and had the opportunity to have the surgery, and the doctor went through all the medical tests and signed it off and said that they were 100% safe to have it done, I would 100% do that. And if I could go back in a time machine and somebody let me have it done when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, I know I would be a lot more confident as a person. I mean, you can never say whatever would happen. I just know that the pain or the insecurity that I have inside me comes from my eye. And it comes from the fact that I always felt that something was wrong with me and that I was a freak. And that strived me to do things like I was determined to like be successful. So you never know, I might have been like some lazy person, but at the same time, I to speak for a person that doesn't know how to speak at that age, I think growing up having a lazy eye is really hard on your confidence, because you do get bullied about it, and it is a very physical thing that you can see. So in answer to would I get my child, it's 10 million thousand % yes, I would. Me personally, I'm not telling you to do it, but yes, I would put my child through the surgery. I would change my child's life. I would take away the risk of them growing up in the way that I felt bad about myself. If I would take that away from my child, yes, I would take away them not feeling good enough. I would take away them feeling like a freak. I would fix it, just so that they never ever had to feel like I did. So yes, my opinion is I would if it was my child. It's very different per adult, per anything. And I know it's like, again, I am not a medical doctor. I'm just telling you what I think from how I grew up and what I would do with my children. So that's the answer. But at the end of the day, your decision for your child, your unique circumstances. I don't know anything about any case that anyone's got. I'm not a medical doctor. You could have a super complicated case that I don't know about. So literally listen to your doctors and do whatever they say. And I am not telling you specifically, whoever you are, because I don't even know who you are looking at this video yet. But people have asked me, would I give my child the chance of surgery? How did I feel? So that is my truthful answer. Anyway, keep well. And I hope that kind of helped. Okay, keep well.